This is the story of one of America's great unsung heroes. I mean, you've seen him, but you never knew who he was. You've cheered for him and cried for him. Women have wanted to die for him. He was what we call a stuntman, and the reason I'm talking so fondly about him is, well, because it's me, Colt Seavers.
Hi guys, this is Bill from Spencer1984.com with a new project on the bench, the Fall Guy GMC pickup. Now, for this build, I'm going to be using the 84 GMC pickup release by AMT or TEL. This is one of about 1,200 releases of this kit. I'm going to put a timestamp down below. If you already know the history, feel free to skip ahead. But it's kind of wild how many times this kit has been modified and reissued. Okay, so the third generation Chevy CK came out in '73, which for you history buffs, you're also going to recognize that was the year of the oil embargo and also the beginning of the malaise era for Detroit. Now, this also wasn't a great time for model companies, and for the most part, they kind of skipped over the 70s. But in '77, MPC finally released a version of the third generation CK, and it was the baseline Scottsdale stepside. It was a pretty typical 2-in-1 kit from the era. You could build it stock or street machine. It had custom parts like engine upgrades, side pipes, that type of thing. Now, that release was only a 2-wheel drive, so for '78, MPC wanted to update the kit to put something new on the shelf, so they changed it up a bit, made it a 4-wheel drive, and included some off-road accessories like bigger tires, a winch, a grill guard, things like that. Then, as was the case for MPC at the time, they would just update the kits annually to reflect whatever was new. So you had the 79, 80, 81. Now, also around this time, late 70s, early 80s, MPC was getting back into the pop culture licensing game and releasing kits based on popular TV shows of the time. But in a lot of cases, they were just making minor modifications to existing kits. That's why there generally has the Charger 500 rear window. Daisy's Jeep is a CJ5 instead of a CJ7, and the Cannonball Run van is just wrong. Now, in the case of the Fall Guy pickup, what MPC did is they took their existing CK pickup, made a new box, added a new grille and grill guard, and yoinked the wheels and tires from their 16th scale Chevy pickup. And for 20 some odd years, that was kind of the end of it. Like so many other companies at the time, MPC was eventually purchased, until finally in the mid-2000s, under the RC2 brand, we finally saw it reissued as a generic 84 GMC pickup with all the off-road gear on it, which includes the one that I'm working with today. Since then, we've seen the kit a couple other times. A few years ago, it was released as the Deserter, and then last year, we saw it again as a Walmart exclusive sold under the Sundowner name. So, I know a lot of backstory there, but it kind of goes a ways towards explaining some of the weird things we're going to see in this kit. So, taking a look at what we've got here, it's just a photo of the built-up on the side of the box. Now, this one originally did include the non-toxic paint and glues. I've removed those from this. We've got some photos of the details, repeats on both ends, and you can see this is the 2007 release. And taking a look inside here. Now, biggest difference between a lot of these is the decals, and in this case, the decal sheet is just some GMC stripes. And they look fine. Decent enough printing, look sharp, but not going to be used on this. The instructions are very basic. You don't even get any kind of blurb, just the important read this, but no background or anything else. Beyond that, they are the standard exploded diagram. Nothing really strange or groundbreaking there. And first up, we've got the chrome tree, which unfortunately being an old MPC kit, this does have cast-in lenses for everything, but the detail looks pretty decent. Not really a whole lot of flash considering how many times this has been repopped. You can see some of the off-road components, the hooks, the driving lights, the whip antenna. Up here we got the front bumper. Got the tailgate filler. You got 2-part mirrors, more driving lights, dress-up kit for the engine, and over here on the side, we've got the rest of the driving lights, again with all cast-in lenses, and the oversized 16th scale wheels. Now, to be fair, I do think they look good on the Canyonero, but that's supposed to be a ridiculously oversized vehicle. And next up are the tires, and they were separately bagged originally from RC2. Nice touch there. And I do have to grant, they look pretty good. They're hollow, they've got nice sidewall detail, decent tread detail. You got a little bit of a seam in the middle, but nowhere's near as bad as some that I've seen. And moving on to the kit parts, we got bucket seats. We've got an unfortunate hood, get to that in a minute. Firewall, radiator bulkhead, radiator, steering wheel. It doesn't look too bad. And the dashboard, which also doesn't look too bad. The hood, though, you can see the lines are ghosting right through it. So I'm going to need to do some filling on the backside so that when I add paint, that doesn't show up. During this era, they did use bags for little parts, in this case a sway bar, taped to the interior bucket. Kind of nice they wanted to keep it safe. The interior bucket is the standard tub style, but has pretty decent door detail. Not going to complain about that. You got the grill guard with the plate and the hole for the winch cable in it. It needs a little cleanup, but not too bad. Got the roll bar. Got the light covers and a 2-part winch. It's not the best, but let's see what we can do with it. And next up, we have a separate tailgate. And that doesn't look too bad. You got the toolbox for the back of the bed. We've got some lift blocks here. We've got the inner wheels. And we've got the wheel retainers. Those have the usual plug over the end of the axle. And we've got some shock absorbers that, again, not the worst, not the best. They really could use some cleanup. Got some pretty bad flash on the sides and some ejector pin marks on them. And next up, we have the chassis, which has kind of a weird gap in it because it's got both sides and the gas tank, but it doesn't have the middle. The middle is made out of the floor of the cab. The inner fenders should look familiar if you were here for the Lone Wolf McQuade Ram Charger. One of these kits is where I got those from. And next up, we have the 2-part transfer case and the drive shafts. We've got the 1 holdout stock-sized wheel. Got the chassis cross member and 4-part exhaust system, or at least 3 of the 4 parts. 4th one fell off a few years ago, but it is in here. And next up, we've got the parts tree with the engine, and it's a pretty typical Chevy small block mated to an automatic transmission. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Heads, valve covers, intake, oil pan, separate front cover, separate water pump, separate header pipes. Actually, pretty decent detail on it. Plus, we've got the stock headers up top here, so got some options with that. And next up, we've got the axles, and each one of those is 2 parts. Detailing doesn't look too bad. Could use a little extra work, but not too bad. Plus, we've got some stock shock absorbers on it. We've got some of the accessory components. You can see the old brush guard that was from one of the original releases of the kit, along with the center console for the interior. That looks pretty decent at least. And moving on to the body. Quality-wise, it doesn't look bad. There's a little bit of flash, but nothing that's really major. The short box does have some lines to indicate the secret compartment that was part of Colt Seaver's truck. And, doesn't look too bad. It's not right for this truck, but doesn't look too bad. And finally, we've got the cab itself, and again, that looks pretty decent, other than the cat hair on the side of it there. I have no idea how that got there. And most of it looks pretty good. A little bit of cleanup here and there, but not too bad. The biggest problem, I think, is going to be the roof, because like the hood, it's got a line in it so that you can cut out for the sunroof, and that is totally going to ghost on this side unless I do some prep work on the bottom. But beyond that, I think that looks pretty good. So, that is it for the base kit. Like I said, wanted to kind of give a little bit of background on it so that some things were understood, like, why does it have a short box? Well, because they were just doing a mild modification to an existing 6-foot box kit. Why does it have kind of oddly proportioned tires? Because they were normal size tires in 16th scale instead of oversized tires in 25th scale. Some of the random accessories like the extra push bar and the extra driving lights that aren't used in this kit are just holdovers from the Mule Skinner or Sodbuster days. Now, fortunately, living here in the future of 2026, we don't have to accept that as being our only options. So, first up, to fix the box, I'm going to be using this resin piece from Morgan Automotive Detail. I used one of these before on a Revell kit where I had to give it a long box, and it's pretty decent detail. Inside the tailgate looks good, the bed looks good, needs a little bit of cleanup where the two meet, but not bad. Underside is just blank, so if I want to add some detail to that, I gotta add it myself. Plus, I'll need to extend the chassis, but we'll get to that in the next video. Still, nice that that's available to us. And for the wheels, just last year I think it was, Fireball Model Works released this set of wheels and tires that are designed to match what was on Colt Seaver's truck. And, you know, as with anything, the quality is outstanding. They've got flat spots on the tires for a weighted appearance. The lug detail, the spoke detail, all of that looks fantastic on the wheels. Sidewall detail is great, treads are appropriate, so that's much better than what was available previously. And he also has a correct set of off-road lights. Now, these don't have clear lenses either, but they are shaped much better, and they have the covers built into them, so they generally look a lot closer to what was supposed to be on Colt's truck. And then the final detail is the markings for the truck, which will include a hood graphic, the side stripes, and all the markings for the driving lights. And for that, we're going to turn to slicks. Now, they don't have a Fall Guy set, but they do have a GAS MS42 8066, which has the hood graphic. Plus, it's got a set of license plates, it's got all of the markings for the light covers, and it even has the stripes for the side of the truck. Only drawback is these are for the short box, so I won't be able to use those, but I can use the rest of it. And so there we go. That should be everything that we need for the Fall Guy pickup. I'm going to start in with engine and chassis, and that's going to include the modifications needed to get the chassis to the right length for the long bed. So I will have an update on that next week. You can check back then, and thanks for watching.